An organization born after seeing two children drinking water from a roadside puddle in Ghana now aims to provide more for more than 1 million people. The project, it's called Maji. It is a water donation NGO and is using its time at the Expo 2020 Dubai to bolster its efforts to supply safe drinking water for rural communities. The organization says it's rethinking rural water economics. And how does it aim to do that? Or what does this look like on the ground? Let's speak now to Ayanda Nyati. He is part of our team at the Dubai Expo. Mr. Nyati, thank you very much for making the time. Good to see you again. Water shortage, or should we say safe drinking water, is said to be one of those major issues that is not going to only hit us here in South Africa, but the world over. It's going to be the next big fight. And so organizations coming up with innovative ideas like this one should actually be given a lot more attention. How do they do this?
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a moment. Good to see you too, Koli. And you're absolutely right. In fact, before the situation that unfolded in Eastern Europe between Russia and Ukraine, people actually thought the next war was going to be around trying to get safe, sustainable water. And of course, that's brought into sharp focus why we're here. And just for a bit more context, the Expo essentially uses each week to focus on a particular theme. This week is all about water. And so yesterday, you and I spoke about hydroponics. Today, we're talking about rural water economics. One man who knows a whole lot more about the latter is Sunil Lalvani. He's the CEO and founder, actually, of Project Maji, and he joins us now. It's great to speak to you all the way in Dubai, by the way. Thanks very much for making time.
Thank you, Ayanda.
For Newzroom Afrika. We'll speak about what water economics is for rural areas in just a moment, but I'm so interested in the event, for lack of a better term, that underpinned the inspiration for you to start this project. Interestingly, Maji means water in Swahili.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah? Two children that you saw, it was 2015 in Ghana drinking water from a roadside. What happened?
Well, we were driving along, as you said, in Ghana, a road, and my driver stopped in the middle of a bush road, a journey we'd done many, many times before. And I asked him why he stopped in the middle of a bush road, and he said, because there's a puddle of water. I said, well, we're in a 4x4, so drive through it like we would usually do. And on this occasion, he said, we can't, because there were two kids in the water. And that's certainly what woke me up. And when I asked him what they were doing, being Ghanaian, this was normal to him, and he just nonchalantly said, well, they're collecting their daily water. But, you know, I'm born and brought up in the UK, in the Western world, where water comes out of a tap. And it piqued my attention. So actually, when I went to talk to these kids, they told me they lived about 100 meters away. They were on their way for their normal daily 1-hour walk to collect water. And the significant part that really stuck with me was they said on this walk, 100 meters into their journey, they said they noticed, luckily, it rained last night, and this puddle of water was there. And It was that thought that this brown puddle of water could be considered a lucky source of water for anyone. And that was really the genesis of what started the idea.
Yeah. And a couple of years later, of course, now we're aiming to provide some kind of sustainable, safe water for about 1 million people. You do that through smart technologies.
Absolutely.
Help us break down what that actually means.
Okay, so there's a whole process that goes through it, going from analog systems to going into communities, talking to them, engaging with them, talking at a very human level, man to man, woman to man, understanding that this is the right community for us to serve, they need water, and they're ready to look after a facility that we put in. But then the facilities we put in, going away from the old technology of hand pumps, we come in with solar-powered kiosks. So it's solar panels drive a solar-powered pump underground, where we pump up water from anywhere between 50 meters to 200 meters, store that water in a 5,000-liter tank, and then dispense it to the community with a cashless payment system. So there's, but we always have the human touch involved at the analog level, right down to sustainable solar and payment technologies.
What's interesting about Project Maji is that in part it's been described as a water donation NGO. Look, of course there's a lot of talk around ensuring that everybody has enough safe, sustainable water, but a lot of people, the idea of donating water is a bit of an anomaly. You know, help us, I guess, better place the importance of contextualizing that. There are communities in sub-Saharan Africa, including where we're from in South Africa, that would actually benefit from NGOs that work with water donation.
Yeah, so there are a couple of interesting things in what you said there, and that's very, very important to how we work. Because sustainability for us goes from being environmentally sustainable, operationally sustainable, and completely financially sustainable. That's very critical. But of course, if communities are going to be charged for water, they're never going to be able to pay a real replacement cost of what the system will cost. The system costs about $15,000 to $20,000. There's no way we can expect a community to pay that. So one thing that we do is get corporates and NGOs, and even we crowdfund individuals to donate for the capital cost of the hardware. But it's really critical that we charge a price for water in the community, whatever that price might be, and that's something we agree with the community in advance. Their willingness and ability to pay is critical. Day one, we go in, and before we build anything, we talk to them. We say, you're going to pay for water.
Why is that important? Because there is already a discussion, sorry to interrupt you there, about water is life, but does that necessarily mean it can't be priced? And I imagine those are the kind of, dare I even say, kind of the theoretical questions you need to explore.
Absolutely right. And that's the critical part. We don't look, as I said, to make a profit on the price of water. We don't even look to make a full cost recovery on the capital equipment, because that's not realistic. But letting people understand that there is a value behind what we are giving them. Otherwise, I hate to say it this way, but are they going to take care of the facility that we put in the community? Are they going to turn on the tap and just let it run endlessly? Because that's got to be shared amongst the whole community. So we actually go with them and we ask them, what price do you want to pay? You tell us, and that's the price that we'll manage with. And then that fund also is very critical to make sure that we can sustain the sites going on, because we have an engineering and monitoring team on the ground. Because what happens in 2 or 3 or 5 years, as and when things go wrong, it's normal with a mechanical system. We don't want to go back to our donors every time and say, hey, give us $100 or $500. We want to make sure that after the system's installed, we can run it self-sustaining all the time.
Most systems need to be maintained. How does that work in a context where perhaps what they're willing to pay is not enough, for instance, for you to cover your costs for maintaining whatever infrastructure you put up?
Absolutely. So for us, scale is really important.
Yeah.
So to have a number of sites is really important, because some of them will generate a lot less revenue, and some bigger communities where they are a bit more well off can pay a bit more, and we do have a cross-subsidy model. So as long as we're building enough sites out there and we have enough total water revenue across all of them, then we can look after the smaller, poorer communities, which is really, really critical from where we came from.
Yeah. A lot of what needs to happen for your model to work is you need to get a lot of sunshine. We do have that in abundance in sub-Saharan Africa. It does, however, sound like it restricts you in some instances. In a world where you'd want to expand beyond, for instance, countries like Kenya and Ghana, I think you also mentioned Uganda off there, how are you going to circumvent that problem?
So I think initially, and the sad thing is, I have to put it this way, 850 million people don't have access to water.
Yeah.
Our goal is to reach 1 million by 2025 and then jump to 10 million by 2030. That's still barely scratching the surface. There's not even 1% of those who need water. So we're focused very much in sub-Saharan Africa, where there is abundant sunshine, where we can manage. But you're right, there are many other places that need water where our solution may not be right, and we have to rely on other NGOs or other social enterprises to tackle that. But we've got our work cut out for us in the environments that we're in.
Yeah, but certainly a step in the right direction and a good start. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Really do appreciate your time. Sunil Lalvani is the CEO and founder of Project Maji, an organization that's looking essentially to solve this problem that, dare I say, has had many governments and NGOs scratching their heads insofar as contributing to the solution. But that's really the beauty about being here at Expo 2020 Dubai. You get to meet individuals like this who not only identify problems, small as they are in their immediate reality, but also do a whole lot more to try and solve those problems by starting organizations like Project Maji.